We take a moment to pause and rest on the floor. Let's bend our knees and let our feet rest on the floor with the rest of the back of our body. Allow our palms to face up. And just allow ourselves to breathe without forcing, without manipulating. Just allow ourselves to breathe. As we notice how we breathe through our body, notice how we hold our body. We feel like we're shorter on one side than the other. We feel like one hip is elevated higher than the other, whether higher to the ceiling or higher to our ribs. Notice how our shoulders rest on the floor. Taking time to just pause in areas of our body and notice how we're holding. And rather than trying to adjust ourselves or fix ourselves, I want you to just let your awareness settle into those areas. Just observing. Notice as things begin to let go, areas of our body. Notice how we begin to adjust ourselves. And slowly lift our left foot up off the floor, cross our ankle over our right thigh, and then place both hands on the front of our hips. Now, I want you to let your left leg relax into and would be considered a neutral position. So, something that's not pulling at our hip, either by pushing the knee forward or drawing it in. I kind of find something in the middle. Notice where your hips are at. Keeping our hips in this position, let's gently press our left knee forward. Keeping our knee forward, lift our right heel, draw our right knee towards our chest. Now you can let go of your hips and place your hands around your right leg, holding on to it. You can take blocks, place them underneath your right foot. You can stack your blocks, placing one on top of the other, letting our arms relax out, and check in that our right leg stays in line with our hip. Now, we're not looking for the deepest, biggest stretch we can find. We're looking for a place where we feel a stretch through the left glute and that we hold in this position and allow it to soften. You can take your left hand and place it on the inside of your left thigh and gently press your left knee forward if you're in a position that you can reach your left leg with comfort. As we find a version that doesn't reach our max, but yet still finds sensation, notice how easy your body will let go. Letting our left foot slide down our right leg towards our right hip. Then slowly lift our right foot up off our blocks. And we're going to lower the shape of our legs over to the right. You can hold on to your left leg. You can place blocks underneath your right leg, the outside of your right leg. You could place blocks underneath your left foot, finding any variation that feels good for you in this position. You can stack blocks up on the floor between the floor and your right leg or the floor and your left foot. The version you choose should create comfort within your body, ease. Shouldn't take a lot of work, shouldn't have a lot of tension. If it does, back off to a variation that's a little more supported. Then very slowly lifting our legs, bring them back up to the top and release our both feet down to the mat. Take our blocks, our stacked blocks, place them over on our left side so our left foot will be able to rest on them. And then before you put your left foot there, take your right ankle, cross it over your left thigh, and then draw your knees towards your chest, placing your left foot on the blocks, letting your right leg gently press forward. If you're feeling tension within the right hip, maybe take your right hand just above your hip on your leg and press your leg away a little bit. Make sure the position of your blocks allows you to keep your left foot in line with your hip. And then begin to slide your right foot down your left leg as you keep your right knee pressed away from your body. Do you find any pushing or pulling with your hands or your legs? Notice, is it creating tension anywhere else in our body? Are we able to stay relaxed? Are we able to let go of any guarding that we might be doing unintentionally, trying to protect any areas that might be tight, stiff, painful, uncomfortable, for any reason that you deem worthy? Notice if it's there. For many of us, when we have pain or discomfort, imbalances, we feel that guarding sensation. If you don't feel anything on this side, but you definitely felt something on the other side, we're going to keep this side short. You can go ahead and rotate your legs over to the side. Notice if you even need that at all. If you don't, we're going to go back to our left side. Remembering this is about honoring our bodies. So if the tension or discomfort or the need for the stretch is equal, then stay here. But if you don't even feel like anything's going on in this stretch, it just feels easy, go back to the other side. When you're ready, take your legs over to the left. allowing your legs to relax down to what feels good for you. Slowly lifting our legs back up. Release our right foot down to the floor. We're going to push the blocks off to the side. Roll over to one side, come up to an all fours position. As we find our all fours position in the center of our mat, we're going to find a few cat-cows. The joints are stacked, spine is long. Then inhale, open up the front of our body. And exhale, round. Inhale, open. And exhale, round. One more time. And rounding. And come back to a neutral spine. We're going to take our left leg, reach it out to the side, pointing our toes towards the front of our mat and level out our hips. We're doing an opposite action of what we did when we just stretched our glutes, piriformis. Now we're targeting the front of the same area of our body. In the same fashion of drawing our leg out to the side, and we're just taking a moment to pause, feeling the inner thighs soften. Noticing the subtleties of our hip softening. And then on our next inhale, open up our heart into cow pose. Exhale, start to sink our hips back towards our right heel, just to a place that honors you. And then come back up and sink our hips back. And rise back up. And one more time, sink our hips back. And rise up. Let's drag our left foot in, put our left knee down on the floor. We're going to do the same thing, other side. Taking our right foot out to the side. Pausing, letting our right hip soften down towards the floor. On our next inhale, open up our heart for cow pose. On our next exhale, slowly sink our hips back towards our left heel. Rising up after you found your end range of motion. And repeat. Moving at your own pace, keeping it comfortable for you. And then rise back up. We're going to drag our right foot in, bend our right knee, put it on the floor, and then rock our hips side to side, just finding some gentle movement. Notice how one side feels compared to the other. Come back to center. Let's find a couple cat cows. Inhale, open the front of our body. Exhale, round. Inhale, open. Exhale, round. Come back to a neutral position. Crawl forward to the front of our mat. Grab a seat so that we're seated somewhere around the center of our mat. And we're going to be lifting one hip up off the mat at a time. So you can do this with extended legs. You can do this with bent knees, knees out to the side, whatever version feels best for you. It will be harder to do this with extended legs than it is with bent knees. And take our hands, interlace them, place them on the top of our head. And I want you to rise up tall through our spine. Feel our shoulders relax down. And then I want you to just kind of explore how this feels with our legs and our hips as we lift one hip up off the floor and then lower it back down and lift the other one. Continue to rock side to side, lifting, lowering each side. Notice if one side's a little bit easier than the other. Notice if it has any relationship with which leg is in front, if your legs are crossed. Notice, do you apply the effort the same way on one side as the other? Try not to tip your head very much. Allow your head to reach up into your hands. If you have cross-legged, start to draw your legs forward a little bit. Maybe knees are bent. Same movement. Lift up, lower down, and lift up, and lower down. Let your ribs move from one side to the other. If your knees are bent, maybe start to extend your legs. Do the same thing, lifting up, lowering down, switching sides. Notice the benefits and the challenges with each version. As we work to stabilize our hips, our low back, the muscles through our spine. And come back to center. Let's release our hands back behind us. Palms are down, fingertips are out to the side. And we start off in a neutral position. So shoulders or chest is generally speaking neutral. So we're not open a lot at this point. We're just kind of a neutral position. If this does not feel good for you, come up and walk your hands in a little bit, kind of explore which variation might feel better for you. And maybe this version at all is not going to feel good for you, but I want you to explore it. And then squeeze your shoulder blades together and push your chest forward. Again, you're only moving to a place that honors you. And then soften. And then squeeze your shoulder blades, open your chest, and soften. Squeeze and open, and then soften. One more time. Squeeze our shoulder blades, open our chest, and soften. Now we're going to lower down to elbows one at a time. And then let our spine soften towards the floor. So now you're going to find that you're kind of creating a hammock within your body. Then when you're ready, lift your chest up to a neutral position. We're opening the front of our shoulders. And then let our spine sag back down towards the floor. And then bring our spine up to a neutral position. Let our spine soften to the floor. And then lift and open our chest. Just by coming to a neutral position. Lower that down. And lift and open. This is opening the front of our shoulders, our deltoids. And lower down. Also getting into our pecs a little bit, but not a lot. And one more time. Neutral spine. And then sag. Walk our elbows out to the side. Lower our head down to the floor. Bend our knees one at a time, and then we're going to grab a hold of just one of our therapy balls. Now, if you have different sizes, go for the biggest one first. You can move down to the smallest one. We're going to place the therapy ball right at our right hip. So we're going to lift our right hip up off the floor, place the ball underneath our glute, aiming towards the center of our glute. And then we're going to lower our weight back onto the ball. We're just going to take a moment to hold here, allowing everything to soften. So again, if you have a different size ball, a bigger one, and you'd rather use that, feel free to start there. The small therapy ball can be pretty intense on a bigger muscle group, such as our glutes. Now, once all the muscles of our glutes soften around the ball, you have the option of lowering your right knee out to the side. Then coming back up and drawing our knee out to the side. Now, if you feel like the area that has tension here in your glutes is just slightly off, the ball is slightly off from that spot, feel free to adjust the ball. It doesn't have to be exactly in this spot. You have a large area of our glutes, because they are a big muscle, big sheet muscle that has a lot of areas that could have tension. could have tightness, could have areas that need to be worked on. So feel free to move the ball around to different areas as you explore this. If you're smack dab in the center, you're going to notice that maybe if it's piriformis you need, it's down lower. And rise back up with our knee. We're going to move our hip off the ball, grab a hold of the ball. We're going to move it to our other side. And again, we're going to explore. So start in the center of that glute muscle. Let our hip come onto the ball. Pause, let everything soften. So if there's any initial tension or tightness, let it soften first before finding any movement. Now, when you're ready, lower your left knee out to the side and lift back up. And it doesn't have to be extremely painful in order for anything to be happening here. You may feel sensation, you may feel just pressure, you may feel little sparks of energy that are may not loving this position, this flow. But just kind of figure out what is manageable for you, what allows your body to stay relaxed while you do this, what allows your breath to move comfortably and smoothly. Again, feel free to explore by moving the ball around to different areas as you continue to open and close your left hip. Then bringing our left knee back up. We're going to release our therapy balls off to the side. Draw our knees into our chest. Give them a hug. And start to extend one leg out. Hold on to the other knee. Let your knee or right or leg, whatever one you're extending out, hover above the floor. Keep the natural curve of your low back. And then switch legs. And switch. 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 Drive through your heel. And switch. Keep driving through your heel. And again. And wrap up the other side. And bring both legs in. And lower your feet down to the floor. Draw your arms to your side, palms facing down. Lift your hips up off the floor and draw them up to the ceiling, engaging your glutes. As you do so, notice where your knees and your feet are in relationship to your hips. Lower your hips back down and then come back up. Lower your hips down and come back up. Notice, do your legs stay in line with your toes? Notice, do your hips smoothly lift up and down, or do they move side to side as you lift and lower? Lower your hips down and relax. Begin to move our knees side to side, just finding some general movement, creating ease within the back of our hips. Bringing our knees back to center. Let's place our hands on our hips again, so the bony part of our hips, just the front of them. And then I want you to think about lifting your heels up off the floor. Notice the subtleties of our core engaging. Then lift our heels up. Feel how our core actually engages. Then lift one foot up, followed by the other. Feel how the core engages and stabilizes. Draw our heels out like we're trying to reach out towards the long edges of our mat. Then bring our feet in, lower our feet down, and soften our core. Lift both heels, feel how the core engages and stabilizes. Lift our feet together as one. Reach our heels out together as one. Holding and breathing. And bring our feet in, lower our feet down, and soften our core. If you need to, rock your knees side to side. Otherwise, just take a moment to pause and soften. Lift both heels up off the floor. Feel our core embrace. Lift our feet. Keeping our knees stacked over our hips. Draw our heels out. And bring our feet back in, lower them down, and soften our core. We're going to sit up for Shavasana, placing blocks underneath our knees. Option to place therapy balls underneath your shoulders. So the upper part of your traps. And let our arms extend out, closing our eyes. Drawing our awareness back to our bodies. If we have therapy balls underneath our shoulders, take a moment to remove them. And then slowly bending our knees. Let's roll over to our right side. And press ourselves up. Bending our way back to a comfortable seat. Rising up tall through our spine. Notice how it feels to sit on our hips. Notice how our hips feel. One side compared to the other, front to back. How each side of our low back feels. And how our legs feel within our hips. Bringing our hands together in front of our hearts, sealing in all that we found in this practice today. Take it as a gift of information, a gift of knowledge on how you move, a gift about learning how you feel in your body today. Take that gift, place it in our hearts, take it with us as we go. Namaste.